So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broking everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up DisruptionNetwork.net and check out our events calendar brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at DisruptionNetwork.net.
Yo, 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 what is going on, good people? And welcome back to another episode, exciting episode of All Pucked Up. Brought to you by MyGarageBar.com and, of course, Disruption Network. Man, we're right into it today.
This is the day, Rich.
This is the day.
This is like Christmas for us.
Yeah, let's bring you right in, man. Hold on. Boom, there you are.
All right.
It's like Christmas.
That's right. It is.
Yeah. We knew today was going to be a busy one, and, it's already proving to be that.
Indeed.
Yes. Just so everybody knows, Yoshi not joining us today. I think this is going to be the last week of him not here. He's doing some.
So some training at work or something.
Yeah,
so.
Training. He's doing a different shift. So he's been out for a couple weeks now, but he is coming back. I was talking to him earlier, and I think he's going to be back next week. So that'll be all good and very believable. Scott, what have you been doing?
Well, let's put it this way. Today being the NHL trade deadline, It ends at 3 p.m. Eastern. So if you folks see me looking down at my phone all the time, I'm not trying to ignore everybody. I'm trying to get the latest news, the latest trades that come through, because that's what we do here at All Pucked Up. We give you the top-notch, best news that's coming through, and we want to be right on top of it for our hour that we're with you today.
Wow.
And we got a lot to talk about, Rich.
Holy man. Sponsor.
I want to get ready to get rid of the small talk. Let's go.
That was great, man. We got to send you out for some sponsorship package.
Well, whatever it takes. Right now, I want to talk trades. Let's go.
Yes, man. And you kind of said it right off the bat. Trade deadline. Boom. We're here.
Well, and that's I don't mean to cut you off, but we might as well get right going. What do you say?
We're into it already.
Okay.
Let's do it.
A lot of Ranger fans. We talked about this last week. So there was big Ranger news that came out about 45 minutes ago. Number one, your boy Chris Kreider is staying as a New York Ranger. He's signing a 7-year extension worth $6.5 million per season. I personally think that's a very smart move by the Rangers.
Yep.
They're making a playoff push. I would caution against playoffs this year for the simple reason that they're on a hot streak right now.
Yep.
And it happens to not every team, but it seems to happen every season, right?
Sure.
Where a team gets hot at the right time, they start sniffing the playoffs, but then if they come back to reality and start playing 500 hockey, another team gets hot again, leapfrogs them, and all that. So if they can make the playoffs, great. Mm-hmm. But it was a smart move to keep Kreider around because you listen, prospects, picks, and all that, they're great, but there's no guarantee they pan out, right?
Yeah.
Kreider is a proven commodity. He is a proven 20-goal scorer. Mm-hmm. He's one of their leaders. He wears the A on his sweater. So, you know what? At some point, you got to, as an organization, show that you're going to take care of your players. And Kreider's one that's been with them right from, the Cup final run in 2014 all the way through. So, good on them for re-signing him. Mm-hmm. It's a very team-friendly deal at $6.5 million. I think the dollar signs were down simply for the fact that he's 29 years old right now. It is a 7-year deal. I don't know if it's a front-loaded contract, meaning most of the money's paid out in the front of the contract, so that when he hits the 33, 34, if they want to try to trade him, the actual dollars, not the cap hit, but the actual dollars will be lower, make it a little bit easier for teams that don't have that much money.
Right.
And I don't know about any no-move clauses or no trade clauses. We'll have to let you in on that. But good idea for the Rangers to keep him.
Yeah.
The other big news, and this is going to affect their playoff run as well, and it also affects their trade deadline plans. Mm-hmm. Now, you guys remember last week on EC Radio, we had actually talked about the possibility of Henrik Lundqvist maybe going to the Avalanche.
Right.
Given that they're goaltending woes right now, the cap space that they have, it would have been an ideal landing spot, in my opinion. I mean, I think he could have really legitimately challenged Pavel Francouz for the number one goaltending spot.
Absolutely.
We don't know how long Grubauer is going to be out, and let's face it, Colorado's in the thick of it. They got a legit chance. However, last night, John Davidson reported at his presser about 45 minutes ago, there was a car accident in Brooklyn last night. It was involving Igor Shesterkin and Pavel Buchnevich. No major injuries. Buchnevich was a little bit shaken up. He's considered to be day-to-day. Igor Shesterkin, however, does have a broken rib. They said it's non-displaced, which is good. Means it'll heal quicker. They say he's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks, and you go from there. But that's too bad because the kid was on an amazing hot streak.
Yeah.
But I do think that really cements the fact that neither Lundqvist or Georgiev is going anywhere right now.
Yep.
Because they are in the midst of a playoff spot or race. And you don't move a goaltender when you need one in the middle of a playoff race.
Absolutely.
Right. So
I got to tell you too, Mazzotti checking in, and he was actually writing us before the show even came on, talking about the Kreider deal. He said that was a good deal too. He said he deserved an extension, which we definitely said. And Shesterkin hurt in a car accident. Driver of the other car was Joel Lundqvist.
They didn't say anything about that, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. But you're right. That's probably going to cement.
Well, and the one thing I would worry about with that, and again, it's terrible that they were on top of it. It was terrible they were in the car accident.
Yeah.
As for Ranger fans, I hope it doesn't take Shesterkin out of the groove, because now he's going to be out at least 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, especially with goaltenders, they get locked in, right?
Yeah, they get very streaky.
And so hopefully, it doesn't affect them. We'll see, but I don't think Hank or Georgiev has to worry about going anywhere right now. They might as well unpack their suitcases.
What was all but a guarantee. Things changed in the
exactly.
hours. So, and speaking of other things going on, there was a couple other. Mazzotti said that's a joke. He must have been about Lundqvist. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was a joke. Okay. Other trades going through.
Yes.
Now you said Marleau.
Patrick Marleau. Going from the Sharks to the Penguins, your boys, the Penguins.
For a third rounder.
For a third-round pick. I thought that's a little high. Mm-hmm. But Marleau is a great locker room guy.
Yep.
So it never hurts to have a good leader in the room. And obviously the Penguins think that their time is now, of course.
They're a win now.
So you know what? Load up on some depth. Load up on some depth because you don't know. You could get hit with injuries going forward. Mm-hmm. And if you've already got those players there, especially now, once 3 o'clock hits today,
that's it.
We're done.
That's it.
I mean, you will hear about trades coming through after 3 o'clock, and I wanted to preface on that a little bit, too. And the reason being for that, because, everybody gets screwed up because it's like, it's 3 o'clock, well, it's over. My team didn't make any deals, right?
Yeah.
And then at 3:45, there's a deal announced. And it was like, well, how's that? Because the deadline was at 3 o'clock. Right, but it has to go through NHL, the Trade Central or whatever it is, their department that everything's got to go through, and it's got to be processed.
Yeah.
So the deals aren't really announced until they're processed. So that's the reason. So don't just turn your news clips off or anything like that right at 3 o'clock, because there could still be some big news after that.
Still things coming through. But I like that trade, actually, because honestly,
why not?
You know what? The last 3 games, after that amazing little streak that I thought the Penguins were going on, they got, what's the term we use around here? Shithoused.
Yeah.
Last 3 games. So maybe that depth will come in handy.
I'll tell you what, though, at some point they're going to have to start replenishing that farm system.
Yeah, that's very true.
Replenishing some picks.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Did we talk about the Brendan Dillon trade?
No, we didn't.
That was
no, we didn't. And you know what? That was a really smart move by the Caps. Mm-hmm. But they give up a second and a third rounder, I think. So they paid the price.
Yep.
They got their guy. That's who they wanted. And you know what? Those are the kind of difference makers that you want. He's not going to score you a ton of points. But you know what? He's a good stay-at-home defenseman. He's going to clear the front of that net out. And those are the under-the-radar moves that nobody seems to take into account. Mm-hmm. But when you get to playoff time and you're at crunch time, those are the kind of guys you want on the ice.
I'm going to tell you what. I mean, Radko Gudas, Brendan Dillon, and now Tom Wilson was in there too. I mean, that is a physical
sure it is.
team, man.
And what do you do in the playoffs?
Yeah, you grind.
You bang and you grind, right?
And you knock teams with all the talent like the Penguins or the Lightning, get them right out of there.
So speaking of the Caps, there was another trade made last night. Ilya Kovalchuk is now a Washington Capital.
Ovi, yes.
Yes, he goes to the Capitals for a third rounder from Montreal for a third round pick. Now the interesting thing,
we talked about this though. Mm-hmm. Now you don't really like this trade though, right?
I thought a third rounder was a little high. And you know what? I'm kind of in the minority here on this one because everybody loves this. Oh my God, Covey's going to is going to be with Ovi. They're because they're good buddies off the ice and all that. Hear me out. The Caps' top 6 is set. They're set. Mm-hmm. You know, what are you going to do? Are you going to drop Tom Wilson down to the third line to put Kovalchuk on the line with Backstrom and Ovechkin? You really going to do that? Now, is he going to help on the power play? Of course he's going to help on the power play. And he seems to be rejuvenated since he went to Montreal and all that. But the thing is, Montreal used him the way he needs to be used. Mm-hmm. And that is as a top 6 forward. Don't expect a lot of defense out of him, but let the guy shoot, right? That's why I pretty much backfired in L.A. because L.A. wanted him to be a third or fourth line grinder, and that's not Ilya Kovalchuk. No. If Washington has an Achilles heel right now, they may need a little more in their top or bottom 6. Maybe. Ilya Kovalchuk is not going to play in their bottom 6. So that's going to be interesting how they're going to kind of weave that through. Like I said, is he going to help on the power play? Of course he is. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what, I would caution against putting him on a line with Ovechkin because neither one of them are known to be defensive stalwarts. I mean, Ovi's at what, minus 10 this year?
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, I mean, they better score because there's a potential for them to give up 2 or 3 goals per shift, you know?
Mazat says, Covey cost them little, but what's it do for their locker room?
You know what? It's not going to hurt their locker room because by all accounts, since he's come back from the KHL, Kovalchuk has been an exemplary citizen in the locker room. They even said that in L.A. All the trouble he had there wasn't bashing anybody. He was always team first, helping out other teammates, even though when they stuck him in, as a healthy scratch for 10 games in a row,
right.
Was a good guy to have around. Same thing in Montreal. Now, the interesting thing with that trade is, too, the Boston Bruins were in on that. They wanted Kovalchuk. So what happened was Marc Bergevin, the GM for Montreal, went to Kovalchuk and said, here, I got offers from Boston and I got an offer from Washington. Out of respect, I'm going to give you the choice. So Kovalchuk chose Washington because he wanted to go play with Ovechkin. Now it's coming out that the deal that Boston was offering was actually a little bit better, but out of respect, Bergeron said to Kovalchuk, no, if you want to go to Washington, I'll send you there because I think they're looking to re-sign him in the offseason.
Yeah, probably.
So it's kind of one of those, hey, listen, I scratch your back, now scratch mine, right?
Nice. Well, I'll tell you what, man. More trades coming in here? Yes? No?
And, before we're checking that out, there was a big one this morning.
Pajot.
Pajot, went to the Islanders for a conditional first-round pick, a conditional second-round pick this year, and a conditional third-round pick in 2022. I'm sorry, actually, that second rounder is not conditional. That is going to happen no matter what. So the conditions on it are the first round pick of this year. If the Islanders miss the playoffs, they go into the lottery and it becomes a top 3 pick. The Islanders will keep that pick and it automatically becomes a 2021 first round pick, regardless. The conditions on the third round pick in 2022 are if the Islanders win the Stanley Cup this year, that pick goes into effect.
You like this trade, though?
Well, now there's an add-on.
Oh, okay.
It's just reporting now that Pajot will be signing a long-term deal with the Islanders. So, it's good that he's signing a long-term deal, so it's obviously not a rental. I still think this is an overpay for Pajot. And again, this is a minority opinion because from what I'm reading on Twitter and on the internet, everybody's loving this deal. The thing is, the Islanders have already got Matt Barzal, Brock Nelson down the middle. All right, so if you want Pajot to stay at center, you got to put him in at your third line, right? And here's the fact of the matter is Pajot's having a career year, okay? In his career, and he came into the league in 2012, I think it was, he's never broke the 20-goal mark. He's never broke the 35-point mark until this season. Right. So imagine that. He's having a career year in his contract year, right? No way, right? And it was actually the first half of his season that's really carried him. He has dropped off the face of the earth in the second half. So I still think the Islanders way overpaid for him. I shouldn't say way overpaid, but that is a hefty price to pay. I mean, a first-round pick and a second-round pick. Eesh. Yeah. I get it. They had to do something.
Yeah,
they had to.
Slipping.
And he fits into the Islanders in the regards that they love to roll 4 lines, which is great, which is absolutely great. But the Islanders need somebody who can consistently put the puck in the net.
Yeah.
That's what they need. So is there more trades coming from the Islanders? It's going to have to be a hockey deal because they're getting rid of all their draft picks now. So, but Lou Lamoriello believes this is what they need, and obviously he probably knows a bit more about hockey than I do. So, good luck.
And you got to excuse me too because I'm doing the same thing you are. I'm refreshing these pages.
Oh yeah,
every couple minutes. I'm like,
yeah.
I wish I had the headset wired right in. Where
you know what I wish we had an intern staff.
We need that.
That would be awesome. If it comes over there, hey, by the way, guys, there's another trade coming in. Oh, then we can actually
coming across the wire.
Yeah, and we can act like we just saw it, right?
What else we got on here? Green got traded last night.
Yeah, Mike Green went to Edmonton.
Yep.
For Kyle Brodziak and a 4th-round pick. Why not if you're Edmonton, right? They need a little help on the blue line. It's not like they're giving up a lot. Brodziak, I think, went to help make the salary cap work because Edmonton is kind of tight up against cap. Yep. So, you know what? It gives Green a chance to get into the playoffs. Obviously, he wasn't going to do that in Detroit. So, I don't mind that trade.
We were talking earlier, you and I, that some of these teams out there that need to make these trades because they've definitely either been slipping or they're right on the bubble looking in. Edmonton, probably one of those teams that really needs to make a trade. I think needs to get somebody else.
Yeah, well, of course they got Connor McDavid back now, so that helps.
Yeah. I'm sure that helps.
Could they certainly use some depth? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But, I'm surprised that there isn't more movement out of the Pacific Division because that division is wide open. Now, there was earlier last week with Toffoli going to Vancouver.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about that.
And Alec Martinez going to Vegas, which, as a Kings fan was nauseating to me, but,
Well, you knew Toffoli was going.
We knew it was coming, right? I really, truly thought Toffoli was going to go to the Islanders. I really thought that just because of what they need. Mm-hmm. They need a goal-scoring winger. But he didn't, and, Vancouver met the price. And they met a pretty heavy one at that. But they got what they wanted. And it seems like he's going to be working out pretty good because Brock Besser is going to be out much longer than they thought he was.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was supposed to be only 2 to 3 weeks, and now they're talking at least 8 weeks.
Yikes.
Yeah, and you know what? With any team that's in contention in the Pacific, go for it.
It might as well.
Go for it. The division's wide open.
Absolutely is.
And especially with L.A., Anaheim, and San Jose pretty much being out of it.
They're already bottom.
They're done.
Yeah.
So you got 3 spots you can go for. I would say let the horses run, get in the playoffs, and see what you can do.
What's this one up? Trocheck
to Carolina.
Oof. Okay.
That one was kind of out of nowhere. Reports are coming out now that the Florida owner has told general manager Dal Talon trim $10 million next year off this payroll.
Really?
After they went and spent all that money to get Bobrovsky. Yeah. This is kind of head-scratching because they didn't really get anybody of significance. I mean, they had a couple of nice prospects. But Florida, really, they're still in the race, too. I mean, they could still get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they need help on defense, which Carolina has plenty of defensemen. So I don't understand why they didn't, unless there's something else brewing that we just don't know about.
Oh, you think they got another deal planned?
It could very well be. I mean, I like Vincent Trocheck. It's a good pickup for Carolina. I want to see what they're going to do with Mike Hoffman, that being Florida. Yeah. Is he going to be the piece that's going to get them a defenseman that they need?
Yeah, I'm just looking through the details of this trade.
Yeah,
let's.
I don't see anything else coming through as of right now, but I mean that all changes like in a heartbeat too. So
yeah, you're right. I mean, even since we just got on here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, Mazat's checking in a little bit more here. He said, he's talking about your boy Lamoriello. Lamoriello destroys the Islanders after killing the Devils and leaves. He's a fan of Lamoriello. You know that, right?
You know what? I'm waiting for the picture to surface of him shaking Lamoriello's hand.
I think you're going to be waiting a while for that one. Good Lord. Oh, boy. And who else am I seeing on here? The Mestikov got traded to the
Avalanche. The Avalanche are another team that I'm kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop for them to do something big.
They need to.
I think they do. I think they do.
They got hit with the injury bug.
We don't know what's going to go on with Grubauer.
Yeah,
are they that confident in Francouz? I mean, they did give him a contract extension. What was it, a $2 million deal, something like that? I mean, it wasn't a long-term thing, but man, it's a shame too because Grubauer finally started to get hot.
Yeah, finally.
After being mediocre all season, he finally starts getting hot, and then now I'm hurt. Great.
Of course, isn't that the way it always works?
Yeah, well, naturally, right? So, come on, refresh. Sorry, this is kind of choppy here, folks, but we're trying to go as everything's happening here.
Yeah.
And, of course, as my luck would have it, my Verizon LTE is having problems now.
You were on a little bit of a rant about that earlier.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So
can't get my NHL network in through my Spectrum app. Oh, this has been a great day.
I think somebody I was reading earlier, somebody got hurt on the Avalanche today or last night, didn't they? Somebody else went out?
I didn't hear that, but that's not to say that it didn't happen, of course.
Yeah, anything can happen. I was going to tell you, too, just a little shout-out because I know he watches the show. Jamie, our boy Jamie, had a chance to actually go out and watch that Penguins Capitals game.
Yeah, I heard it was quite an interesting exchange between you two.
Yeah, he drove down there, and every time the Penguins would score, I heard about it. With the colorful metaphor.
Yes.
We're flying left and right.
Well, it's funny because the Capitals wear red.
Yeah.
Penguins are gold and black. And from what I understand, all the language involved was blue.
Yes, it was.
Is that what you were saying earlier?
Yes. Hey, so you know what? I want to refresh on this. I want to take a quick look. Let's go to our break while we do that.
Just so we're not let's do that. Here. Sure.
Do you have some trivia for us?
Real quick, and I'm not even going to go through all the details. Here's Breakaway Trivia.
Oh, here we go.
In honor of the 40th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice, okay, that was this Saturday, the 22nd. What I want to know this week is, on that 1980 Miracle on Ice team, how many of those players made it to the NHL?
Ooh, that's a good one.
The answer when we come back.
All right.
So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broking everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up DisruptionNetwork.net and check out our events calendar brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at DisruptionNetwork.net.
Yeah, and we are back. If you guys seen that little exchange going on, it was great. So Scott, what's the what do we got here for trivia?
All right,
we brought Z in on that one. We were all trying to figure that out.
So the question, real quick, for Breakaway Trivia this week is: of the Miracle on Ice 1980 U.S. Olympic gold-winning hockey team, how many of those players made it to the NHL?
Now there's a little
a little caveat.
Yeah,
all they had to do was make the NHL play games.
Okay,
they didn't have to be stalwarts or stars.
Right,
just made it to the NHL. Put on an NHL sweater, played in a few games. How many?
10.
Nope. 15. Nope. The answer is 13.
Really?
Lucky number 13.
Lucky 13.
There was 20 players on that team. 13 of them made it to the NHL. Interestingly enough, though, guess who didn't make it to the NHL? Mike Eruzione.
Oh, that's true.
Never played a game in the NHL.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
How'd that happen?
One of the most famous of the Olympians, right?
Yeah, how did that happen? That's weird.
I don't know.
See? The things you learn sitting there with Scott.
Yeah, well, you don't want the rest of that.
No. We, you know what? We didn't even play our music on that one, man.
That's all right. Hey, listen, we're winging it today. We're having, I don't know about you, but I'm having all kinds of technical difficulties on my phone here, which is really starting to aggravate me. But let's.
What do we got on here?
Is there any updates?
Oh, this is from, was this today? Yeah, on Monday. Forwards Nate Thompson and Derek Grant were traded to the Philadelphia Flyers in separate transactions.
I like that.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think that makes the Flyers a little more, pardon the pun, gritty.
I'm going to tell you, they're actually getting a little bit too close for comfort.
Well, they're what, 5 points out of the division?
Yeah,
Division lead, but they're also 4 points out of a playoff spot.
absolutely.
So, what we just talked about earlier, you got to be able to grind and bang in the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. Derek Grant brings that to the table. Being a Western Conference fan, I certainly know Nate Thompson brings that. When he was with Anaheim, I know being a Kings fan, he was a pain in the ass for them to play against. When he was with the Kings, they loved him for that very reason. Same thing in Montreal. Everybody loves him in the locker room. Great guy. Mm-hmm. So that's a really smart move by Philly to bring Nate Thompson in along with Derek Grant. It's really going to solidify their bottom six. So, if Carter Hart finds his wheels again for the goaltending, Philly could be dangerous.
Yeah, they could be.
Philly could actually be this year's Columbus if he gets hot.
They're one of those teams that is sneaky. They're always sneaky. They sneak into.
Well, the problem with Philadelphia, for some reason, they can't win on the road.
Yeah.
If they can fix that somehow, and I don't know what the easy answer is to that, but whoa, oh,
do I need to refresh here?
You might want to.
Let's see.
Big trade between the Wild and the Islanders. Looks like Zach Parise is going to the Islanders.
Really?
Zach Parise, yeah.
They don't even have that up. What are you on?
Andrew Ladd. I'm on Twitter. Andrew Ladd looks like one of the pieces going back to the Wild. They don't have the full trade on here yet. Wow.
I love
did not see that one.
That's on Twitter, but I don't have it on NHL.com.
Yeah, NHL.com is a little behind the times. Wow.
Like most things.
No, yeah. Right. All right, so as soon as we get all the details of that one, we'll let you know.
Okay. I wanted to ask.
As it stands right now, I like that.
Yeah.
I like it. It gives Parise a chance to be on a playoff team because I really don't think the Wild are for real, to be honest with you. I don't think this lasts very much longer for them. And Andrew Ladd could certainly use a change of scenery. He was buried in the AHL for the Islanders, so he'll get some playing time with the Wild. It's a good deal. I don't know what kind of salary retention is going on here, if any.
Yep.
Just seeing the
You got the details on there and everything? Damn you,
I'm just going through all the.
Damn you, NHL.
But you got to understand, on my Twitter feed, I follow all these different hockey reporters and all that because I'm a nerd, right? I got to know everything that's happening right as it's going on, So this is why. It all pops up. If a player's hungover, I know it. It's kind of.
They're on the toilet.
Yeah, but pretty much.
Yeah. So I guess why do we even have NHL.com up? It's useless.
Well, I was kind of hoping they would be a little bit on the ball.
Not tonight.
Their biggest day of the year so far. But, But, hey, we just want to talk about what the time Gritty went to a birthday party and scared kids. Let's talk about that again.
Listen, I wanted to ask you, earlier you said there were some players that you were kind of following. Is there any players that you're still expecting to be on the move here?
I still think Mike Hoffman's going.
Okay.
I think so, especially given all that's going on now with the Florida Panthers. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. And obviously, if they're going to be trimming payroll, they're not going to re-sign him. So I think it's going to be a hockey deal. And by a hockey deal, I mean it's player for player. Right? So, everybody thinks trade, especially at the trade deadline, you think established player for prospects or draft picks.
Yep.
Hockey deal is, okay, we need a defenseman, you need a scorer. Let's swap.
Player for player.
So player for player. So the big one I got going would be Mike Hoffman. I also think one of the Chicago goalies is going to be gone, either Robin Lehner or Corey Crawford.
Yeah, Lehner, I'm thinking.
Probably. I would think, and especially now everything that's going on with the Rangers goalies being off the board, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if Robin Lehner ends up in Colorado.
Ooh, yeah. That'd be
I really think that would be a good landing spot for him. Just as a minor deal here, Wayne Simmons went to Buffalo. So if anybody cares about that.
So there's that.
So I don't think Kyle Palmieri is going to be going anywhere out of New Jersey.
No.
Unless it's a really, blow them away. Because he's got 1 year left on his contract, too.
Yeah.
So, and it goes along with saying that if you're trying to build something, which they're trying to do in New Jersey, you still have to have players that can actually play. You cannot completely depend on prospects coming up through the system. So if you want to be at least somewhat competitive, you gotta be willing to kind of bite the bullet and keep some players around too.
Yeah.
I'll be very interested to see if Tyson Barrie goes anywhere out of Toronto. That's the big talk now. Toronto's just a mess right now.
They are a mess.
Oh, my God. I mean, you get beat by a Zamboni driver.
Oh, boy. Yeah,
I mean,
we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Oh, my God.
Did you see the rant afterwards?
Oh, it was hilarious, wasn't it? It was absolutely hilarious.
We'll talk about that in a few minutes. I do want to say, Mazat, what did he say here? Wild suck. The Owls are trying to Band-Aid their issues, sacrificing their future.
Yeah, but all they gave up was Andrew Ladd. Listen, Andrew Ladd was one of those examples of a bad free agent signing where they all go crazy on free agent day and think that, oh, we'll sign him for now because he's going to be good for 2 years and then we'll just worry about the rest of the bad contract. Well, the rest of the bad contract's here, So I want to see what else came through as far as that deal goes before I make a call either way on it. Let me see here. Oh, let's see. Keep refreshing. All right. So, anyways, before we get to all that, Patrick Marleau going to the Penguins. Will Joe Thornton go anywhere today? This could very well be Joe Thornton's last chance to go win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
I don't see how much longer he can play, to be honest with you.
I didn't think he was coming back this year.
I didn't either. I was actually very surprised he did.
I thought Jumbo Joe was on. But,
man. But, he's there. I don't know how much he could really significantly make a difference. I mean, maybe as a good fourth-line player, is just a locker room guy.
Yeah, yep.
I mean,
presence.
Obviously, his best years are past him. Let's see. Oh, we have acquired a goaltender.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that was the Michael Hutchinson trade they made with Toronto earlier. It was a minor deal. Kelly Rosen from the Colorado Avalanche to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
We mentioned, obviously, Colorado and what other teams you think have to really make some moves here?
Well, I was going to say the Islanders until I just saw that. That's going to pretty much mean they're done. Mm-hmm. Colorado obviously has to make a move to stay within the how do I say the race.
Sure.
Now it's really coming down to the bubble teams. Your top threes in your each division, except for the Pacific, are pretty much set. I think Winnipeg would actually benefit very much so from having an extra defenseman. Excuse me. Allergy season started hitting Central New York, folks.
Don't worry, but it's about to go being buried under snow, from what I hear.
Yeah, I know, right? Other than that, I think you're still going to see some moves out of Metro teams. I think Carolina needs to make one more move. Even as deep as they are, I think they need to solidify their goaltending.
Yeah. Especially
especially now with Reimer and Mrazek hurt. Because here's the problem, and it's going to be the same problem for Colorado. You can't afford to get too far down, especially in the Metro. Because if you're going to try to Band-Aid your goalies for a couple of weeks, and all of a sudden you go, say, 3-7-0 over those 2 weeks while you're waiting for one of those two guys to get healthy, guess what? You're out of the race. You're done. Especially because now we're getting into there is no more tomorrows.
No, you're right. That's it.
So that's the whole thing.
What about Columbus?
I was just going to say Columbus. You read my mind, Rich Masucci.
What about Puckstradamus? You're Puckstradamus.
I know, right? We're channeling each other. It's amazing.
Channeling Puckstradamus.
Yes.
But Columbus.
Mind melt.
Yeah. Columbus is one of those teams. I mean, they got super, super hot for that little window of time and then just.
And this is what happens.
Yeah.
Right? These teams get hot. They think they have playoff aspirations. And then all of a sudden,
reality.
They come back to earth.
Yeah.
Start playing normal hockey, and it's like, oh, we really weren't that good after all. It's admirable what they've done, given the injury situations they've had. Merzulkins came in and performed admirably for a couple of weeks, and now he's kind of trailed off and coming back to earth. If you're Columbus, you don't have a lot of draft capital to work with to make any trades. If I were Columbus, I would actually be looking to sell.
Yeah, I mean,
I would. They're trying to unload Josh Anderson, from what I understand.
Yeah, I heard that.
It's kind of making it difficult because he's hurt right now, so he can't immediately be a contributor. But he's one of those big-bodied forwards that can put the puck in the net. It's very valuable come playoff time. I've also heard rumors of some teams kicking the tires on Thomas Vanek.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. He's not playing right now, but they could you never know. Desperation is a funny thing, especially if teams get, shut out on players that they wanted. Trade deadline comes and goes. He's still out there as a free agent.
Yeah, it's true.
Be kind of interesting to see if Boston went after him.
I'm looking. Columbus is 74 points. Yeah, they're sitting right there.
They're sitting right there,
going
but
the wrong way.
Yeah, and with teams making themselves better. Now, here's the thing with the trade deadline, though, and I've said this over and over again. Yeah, this is a very exciting day for us. We get to see who's being moved and all that.
Yeah.
How often does it really work out, though?
Very true. Very true.
How often?
You load up the team, and next thing you know, it did.
We've said this before. Last year at St. Louis, they did nothing at the deadline. They got Michael Del Zotto, who was, spent most of his run with the Blues sitting in the press box eating snacks, Year before that, Washington did pick up Michael Kempny, which wasn't a big deal at the time, but it turned out that he was one of those guys that really solidified their back end.
Yeah.
So these teams that give up all these assets to get these top-line players and their rentals and all that, it just never seems to work out. Because I still think that the trade deadline is not giving enough time for those players to mesh with their teams.
Yeah, you're right.
You've only really realistically got about 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, we got about a month before the playoffs.
To get used to the systems and all that. And a lot of times that's not enough time. And if you're a playoff team, you obviously have been doing something right to get to where you got to go, right?
You're right.
So a lot of times what happens is they bring the player in and it kind of messes up the system.
The whole chemistry.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not an intentional thing. It's not like these guys are being brought in to poison the locker room, because they're not. But it's still one of those deals where you got to be careful how much you're giving up.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and you're right. You go out and you sign these big names and you think, oh, well, now we got all the talent in the world.
Right.
Doesn't mean they can play together. Doesn't
Exactly.
mean that at all. Let's see.
Anything else? Anything else coming through here?
Masat said Columbus is making golf reservations for April 6th.
He just hates Columbus because of Tortorella.
He also said Dallas is the smartest playoff team. Ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, but there's also rumors of them trying to add.
Yeah, it's funny trying to find stuff on here.
All right, so Boston gets Nick Ritchie from the Ducks for Dan Heinen. That's a lateral move, if you ask me. I mean, that's kind of. I don't think that's a groundbreaking deal at all by any stretch of the imagination.
The case cracker.
Come on, NHL GMs, we're still on the air. Come on, give us something.
We got about 10 more minutes.
Throw us some red meat, will you?
Hey, so while we're waiting, let's we were going to talk about this. The is it David Ayers?
Yes.
The goal, or I'm sorry, the Zamboni driver that jumped in to play goaltender, emergency backup.
Yeah.
And
this was Saturday night, I think it was.
Yeah. Oh, Z wants
to see. Yeah. So here's what happened. Peter Mrazek started for the Carolina Hurricanes against the Toronto Maple Leafs Saturday night in Toronto, by the way. He gets hurt. Backup, James Reimer comes in.
Got crushed.
He gets hurt. So the NHL has this rule about emergency goalies. Each team, home team, has to provide emergency goalies, right? So they're sitting in the stands, but if both the goaltenders get hurt, guess what? Get some pads because you're coming in.
You get the nod.
Which to me is insane. I mean, I don't, how do I guess it kind of makes it a fun thing, but it's still kind of crazy. Imagine that, like you're in a playoff race, right? Oh. Say this happens like on the last game of the season.
Oh, my God.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah, the Zamboni driver's our goalie.
So here's this guy. He drives the Zamboni for the AHL Toronto Marlies. He suits up, and he wins. He beats the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, the $30 million loss. You know what? This is a classic example. And you got to pick on the Toronto Maple Leafs for this.
Yeah.
You've got to. This is a classic example of why you do not load your roster up with these high-priced offensive superstars and expect to win anything. Okay? Like you just said, they got $30 million tied up in 3 players.
Yeah, just the front line.
All right? They couldn't score on a Zamboni driver. They didn't even try.
No, they did.
I mean, granted, I understand that if you're Carolina, obviously you go into a defensive shell, right? So you're doing everything you can to suppress shots. But he is still a Zamboni driver. Okay? So what it leads me to believe is, for one thing, I like John Tavares, good guy and all that. Huge mistake, obviously. because you know what? All that money that Toronto spent on him, they could have spent filling up some holes on this team. Yeah.
On a Zamboni.
Yeah, exactly. Right? No, actually, this trade deadline before it's over with, I don't know if this is absolutely possible, but Toronto should think about trying to trade for a Hart.
Yes.
Okay? Because this team is completely lacking one.
Yeah.
Totally lacking. I mean, where is the leadership on this team?
Where's the defense? There's no defense on this team whatsoever.
There's no defense. It just seems like, and I get Toronto is a very difficult place to play in. I understand that.
It's worse now.
Okay, oh my God. Could you imagine that? If I was a Toronto Maple Leaf, I would not go out in public in Toronto. I would just stay in my house. That's all I would do. It's obviously a good story. I guess Tuesday night they're gonna honor this David Ayers in Carolina.
Oh, that's
right.
Over.
So what's going to happen if they win, right? The Zamboni is going to be part of the storm surge. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
It would be kind of hilarious if they actually did trade for him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, just for future considerations. We're trading for a Zamboni driver. Yeah, that's the kind of PR the league needs. That's awesome.
Mazat said Toronto only took 10 shots on Ayers. First 2 went in. Pathetic from Toronto's perspective. He said he watched the game and Toronto actively passed up shots on goal.
Wow.
Yeah, that is true. They said he went into the locker room in between periods, in between the second and third, and basically told those guys like, "All right, now I got the jitters out. I'm ready to play."
Yeah,
but still, it's a freaking Zamboni drive.
I don't. You know what? And yeah, it's a great story, but in a lot of other senses, it's so embarrassing.
Yeah,
it's embarrassing for the league too. Really, look at. Not to take away anything from Myers. That's awesome. Good for him. It was like Scott Foster a few years back when he went in for the Blackhawks. Remember?
Oh yeah, yep.
And that's great. But what's it say about the competitive level in your league? I don't know. I think, honestly, you're going to see a change from the NHL and how this whole emergency goalie situation's handled, too. I think you're going to see something to the effect of, they're going to actually, I don't know how you do it, maybe have a contract with an emergency goalie, an actual, guy who's playing like maybe AHL or ECHL level, something like that, where he's got to be there and available. And I think you'll especially see it more and more going down the road since all these NHL teams want their AHL teams in the same city.
Yeah.
Right? So, I don't know. Like I said, good for David Ayers, but, man, oh, my God.
The rant that we saw online was pretty epic there. And deservedly so.
Yeah, well, this Steve Dangle is his name. Of course, every day he's having a meltdown about the Leafs anyway. How this guy's stomach just hasn't disintegrated is beyond me. I don't know. I understand getting upset about your team. Believe me, I get it.
Yeah.
I've done it a couple times, but not to that extent every day. But it's so funny. It's what's really hilarious is after the Leafs made that trade about a week and a half ago with the Kings to get Kyle Clifford and Jack Campbell. If you watched Leafs media online, like their social media, that was it. They crowned themselves the champions.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. Like, you guys, really? Because you got Clifford and Campbell? I like both those players. Don't get me wrong. But they were acting like they just traded for Ovechkin and Carey Price. So they went from a week and a half ago being the straight-up legit contenders for the Stanley Cup to getting beat by a Zamboni driver.
Ready to burn the city.
Wow. How does that happen? Ridiculous.
Yeah, I was watching something online too, and it was funny because whoever was commenting on it, they said they tried to excuse it a little bit. They were like, not to say that there's not a competitive level in the NHL. This is kind of a fluke, but
still,
it's embarrassing.
And these are, and it's not like these were two bottom feeder teams.
No,
these were legit playoff contenders. This wasn't Ottawa against New Jersey.
Yeah, no, you're right.
These, especially obviously Carolina won it, but Toronto's in a dogfight to get in the playoffs. You mean to tell me you don't have enough sense of urgency to go out and try to score 20 goals on a Zamboni driver?
Yeah.
Are you serious? What is wrong with those people?
Zamboni.
Yeah, exactly. And fans are going to have a ball. I wouldn't be surprised like when the Leafs go on the road, you just see Zamboni's pictures all over the place. It's just going to be awesome.
So here it is. Here's our thing. Every week we come up with something, and like the league seems to follow. So maybe that's going to be it. Like all the Toronto games now, if we see the Zamboni going up, we'll know exactly. That's a Scott idea right there.
everybody Toronto fans are going to hate me now,
You're not allowed in Toronto anymore, dude.
which is a shame. That's a really fun city.
Oh, God.
So I'm seeing the possibility of Andreas Athanasiou from the Detroit Red Wings going to Edmonton. It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
A fast guy, a lot of speed, could possibly play with Connor McDavid. But right now, things are kind of seem to quiet down just a little bit here. Still trying to get the details on what's going on with that Minnesota Islanders trade. But right now, it's kind of tailing off here. And of course, as we're getting ready to go off the air is when it all starts tailing off, right?
Of course. Like,
You know what's going to happen? 105, there's going to be a huge trade. You know that, right? You know that.
So who helped themselves the most with all of this?
Today?
Yeah.
Well, are you talking about just today, or are you talking about overall?
Overall, I'll say.
I think overall the Penguins did pretty good. Mm-hmm. Getting Zucker, I mean, they gave up a lot. They certainly gave up a lot to get him, but not bad. You got basically the replacements for Gunsel, and you have a backup for the backup in Marlowe.
I'm surprised that they didn't move Schultz. I thought Schultz was going someplace. I really did.
Yeah, but if you're the Penguins, you can't. You're so thin on defense as it is. I think they do need to maybe make one more trade to get a defenseman.
Hey, check that again because Mazat said, what's it?
I think who really won today was the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah.
I mean, they have, 13 picks in this 2020 draft? Now, you remember what I said a couple weeks ago? And you laughed your butt off at me when I said, watch out for Ottawa in about 3 years?
I did laugh at you at that.
Yeah, well, guess what? This team is going to be loaded for bear in a few years. Look at all these picks they got coming in. Now, granted, not every pick pans out. I totally understand that.
But they have enough.
They've got
the law of averages.
This 2020 draft, it's a very deep draft.
Yeah.
They have 3 first-round picks, 2 of which are going to be at least top 10, possibly top 5. They have 4 second-round picks now, 2 third-round picks, and then the rest going down the line. All right, they've got, 10 picks in next year's draft? So you're going to be playing with a bunch of kids for another year or two, so that means they're going to be high draft picks coming in. Mm-hmm. But if all goes according to plan and they get their new arena built and all that, they're going to have some income coming in. They're going to have cap space to burn. So suddenly they're going to turn into, basically, they're going to be like Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
You watch, they're going to be the Eastern Conference version of Colorado.
3 to 5 years, you say, huh?
I'm saying 3.
3 years. Okay.
3, they'll be a legit playoff contender. And then after that, they're going to be a team to watch for. They really are. I'm just telling you.
Mazat says the Pens have to pray that their goaltending holds up.
He's right. He's right in that regard. Goaltending is such a hard thing to predict, though. It's so hard, right? So, and Mazat being a Rangers fan, I'll use the example, right? Until this unfortunate accident with Shesterkin. Okay, all I heard from Ranger fans was that's it. The Rangers are going to the Cup because they have Shesterkin. Mm-hmm. Okay? I can understand being excited. I get it, right? I mean, but I'll use your Penguins as the example. Matt Murray. Now, Vegas was coming into the league. They did everything they could to protect Matt Murray.
Absolutely.
Got to get rid of Fleury. We'll give you a second-round pick to take Fleury. Please take him off our hands because we don't want to lose Matt Murray. Now, knowing now if they knew then what they know now.
Yeah, where's our DeLorean on that one?
Where is Doc Emmett Brown? So goaltending is such a hard position from year to year to figure out. It really is. Now, if I told you at the start of this year, Matt Murray would be sitting the bench for Tristan Jarry,
I never would have believed it in a million.
and that the Penguins would be a legit Stanley Cup contender with Tristan Jarry as your goaltender.
I never even thought Jarry was going to take that spot. I thought it was going to be
Casey
Smith.
Yeah, exactly. So this is exactly what I'm saying to you. You can never figure it out. I shouldn't say you can never figure it out, but it's so difficult.
It's tricky.
Because goaltending is one position from year to year that just seems to change constantly. And that's the one position that you're depending on your goalie getting hot at the right time, too. Honestly. Especially if you're in a system that doesn't stress defense.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like the Penguins don't really stress defense. I mean, you look at a team like Dallas. Dallas could probably put David Ayers in, and he'd be a legit playoff goaltender because that's what they do. They lock down on defense constantly. They're not really so much worried about scoring goals. It's their defense.
Right.
Same thing with the Islanders and Lamoriello, or not Barry Trotz's system. Sorry, I got Lamoriello on the brain here because I'm going crazy trying to get the details on this Parise trade, and I can't.
I just keep looking at NHL.com. Oh,
I just want to see what the details are.
now let me ask you one last question because this just popped up on here. It said the Jets are exploring their trade options for Byfuglien. What could they do with Byfuglien at this point?
I don't think they can do much with him. It was decided. The news came out this morning that he's not playing this year. That's been decided.
I thought the option was he might not play again.
Well, that's all going to depend. But with him not playing this year, you terminate the contract, you get rid of it, and you move on from him. I don't think there's much options for them in the trade market. There really isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, and what are you getting with him? Even if you acquire him, you're banking on next year. But is he going to be the same player? I mean, he hasn't played in a year and a half.
Yeah, you're right.
You know. Let me see here. One last little bit here before we go off the air. Come on, somebody. Somebody make a deal.
Come on.
Somebody, please.
Roll the dice.
Please. Yeah, I just keep seeing that it's Ladd and Parise are the main components of this deal. And if that's the case, that's a great deal by the Islanders. It really is. But without looking at the details, I don't want to go too overboard here on my love for the deal. Let's see. Peugeot is signing he's signing an extension.
I think the big one I was waiting to see today was Kreider.
Yeah, you know, here's the thing. Anything can happen at the trade deadline. But from what I was hearing what the Rangers wanted for him, in my head it was 50-50 because the Rangers set the bar so high for him that it almost seemed like they were going to have to get an opposing general manager drunk to make the deal. Seriously.
Right.
So they wanted a first-round pick. They wanted a high-end prospect. They wanted a current NHL player that's playing right now, and they wanted a lower-end prospect. They wanted 4 things for Chris Kreider. And as good of a player as Chris Kreider is, the guy has never scored 30 goals in a season. All right? So it's not like he's going to come into your team and be the complete game changer.
No.
He's a very, very good complementary piece, but he's not going to change it, right? So to give up all that for a guy that's not necessarily a game changer, and what we talked about earlier, got to have time to acclimate and get used to the new team. Suppose it's not really working out. You just gave up a ton to get a guy that could potentially walk. Well, not anymore. He's not going to walk anywhere now. But
you're yeah.
But if it was left as a UFA, he could have walked on you in the offseason anyways. Look at Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
What the Devils gave, or what they gave up, the Coyotes gave up to get Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
Now they could very well lose him in the offseason because Arizona's back to being Arizona.
I would say they're definitely losing him in the offseason.
But they're getting Darcy Kemper back now. So, but is Darcy Kemper going to be the same goaltender?
Did they announce that? Did he come?
He's going to be playing Tuesday night, I guess.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I just helped you out. I can do that now that we're not playing each other this week.
Oh man, hey, my team took a nosedive. I go as the Pens go, and this was not a great week to have all Pens.
Well, didn't I tell you about that? Didn't I say be careful?
Yeah. Oh man. When you look on there, you're like, oh man. Housed 3 games in a row. Good Lord.
Yeah. Carolina. Okay, that's an old bit of news. Come on, one more little bit. Panthers are trying to add a D before the deadline table. Well, no kidding.
Let's see. Problem with Kreider was how much Philly paid for Hayes. That's what held up the internal deal.
Could be, but they got similar deals anyway. Hayes is 7 years at $7 million per year. Kreider 7 years at $6.5 million. And it seems like Hayes has blended in pretty well with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Hayes is a center. Centers are by nature going to get paid a little bit more when you're comparing apples to apples, because centers, as a rule, have more responsibility on the ice.
Nothing else popping up here.
No, I think that
might be cooling off a little bit.
I think I'm not seeing anything, which is really, really frustrating.
But I'm going to tell you what. I feel very, very good in the fact that we were on air when a couple of these broke.
Yeah.
So,
even though sorry folks, we can't get the details on the Islanders wild.
You know what? You know what though? I feel good about
God.
We had them on here before NHL.com.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think we could have done a 2-hour later show and probably
still made it before he know that. Too funny. All right, well, listen, I think we're going to call it. It's a little after 1, so we'll do that. But it was a good show, man.
It was. I'm not ignoring you. I can't. I don't want to go off the air without that.
He's waiting. That one last one.
It's because we care so much about what we bring to our listeners and our viewers.
Yes.
That and it looks like we're going to let you down. So
that's all right. We'll be back next week. We'll have Yoshi back.
So listen, and if there's anybody out there that wants to be an intern for All Pucked Up, you're more than welcome, especially for days like today when we could really use somebody that's
like computer savvy, going nuts.
Dude, just letting us know what's going on here because I'm trying to talk and look at the same time, and I'm just simply not that talented. I'm sorry.
We both are. I'm over here like, well, if it's not NHL.com, and as I'm doing that, like,
for a while there, what it was like? It was like an awkward first date.
Yeah.
Or nobody's ever just kind of trying to think of the right thing to say, and just kind of. So, what's your favorite color?
Trade.
Did you see we're supposed to get a storm in a couple days? Not really kind of paying attention, just more.
Yeah.
But
that's all right.
Yeah.
All right, well, listen, like I said, Yosh will be back next week.
Good deal.
And I don't even know what we're talking about next week. Probably see how some of these players fare.
Because we're still going to have some. Sure, we'll still have some deals after we go off the air here today. So maybe what we can do is pick our winners and losers of the trade deadline then.
Ooh, our winners and losers.
How's that sound?
I like that.
All right.
Sounds good. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us then. I'm Rich Masucci. That's Scott Kinville. And we will check you out next Monday. 11 o'clock? 12 o'clock. Boy,
12, yeah.
Yeah, all right. There we go. Flying on. All right, guys. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. See you.
See ya.
So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broking everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up DisruptionNetwork.net and check out our events calendar brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at DisruptionNetwork.net.